All right, so this is a tutorial on just painting something either from your head or you can paint from a still life or a picture or something. But coming, not using a picture underneath, like you're just straight doing it yourself. So first thing you do is to file new and decide on what you want your composition to be. So um, I'm gonna say I will just use paper here. So width, I'm gonna do 6 by 9, right? So I'm gonna make it landscape. So width will be 9, and do by 6, and then 300 PPI, which is normally work, and that will be typically what we've been working in. Okay, so I'll hit OK, and here is my canvas. All right, looks great. First thing that I'm going to do is actually I'm going to unlock this, and I'm actually going to go ahead and use the paint bucket, which is under the gradient, and I'm going to pause. All right, sorry about that. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually, right now this white, right? So this is pure white, it's bright white. It's not a really good way to start off when you're trying to make a painting. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go more for like a 50% gray, okay? Because that basically allows me value-wise to go up or down. So when I make my blacks, it's in comparison to gray. And when I make white, it's in comparison to white. So from there, what I'm going to do is this. Usually, I'm going to do my chinchilla. Just because I feel like it, or what was once my chinchilla. So first thing I'm going to do is actually, it's going to seem kind of weird, so I'm going to back this up. So my canvas is kind of small, okay? And then, let me see, is this, all right. And then I'm going to change my brush to something that, just like a normal kind of, that kind of brush. I'm going to change my color to black so I can see. Beautiful. Okay. Make sure you have this on, and make sure you have this on, and usually flow I'll put somewhere around 70%. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the sketch from out here to start with, because what this does is it forces me to think about the composition as a whole and don't get overly detailed. So I'm just going to do a generic kind of 3/4 view of my chinchillas. Okay, so this is kind of like a thumbnail thing. So make sure you're using a tablet as well. All right, so we're just going to go like this, and all right, blah, blah, blah. You can see it's just a doodle kind of sketch thing. All right, all right, so that's a little better. All right, so and its arm's a little bit too forward, so I'll move it back a little bit, and we'll go right there. Its ear should be a little bit bigger. All right. Now what I'll do is actually get a little bit closer. So Command plus 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 plus, and I'm going to put a layer above this one, and I'm going to take the one underneath here and just take my opacity down a bunch so I can still see it, but it's not in the way. And now what I'm going to do is try to use this as like a template and do a little bit better, more accurate of a drawing. Okay, so I'll make sure on the layer above, I'm still on black, and I am going to sketch this out. Okay, so right, so this is kind of hard. I'm not used to drawing with a straight tablet. Usually I have a Cintiq, so which are monitors you can draw on, which are much easier to work with because there's not the weird hand-eye coordination. That being said, though, I've seen some people who use Wacom's, just straight up drawing tablets such as the ones we have in the lab pretty well. I'm just not quite as talented as those people, I guess. Oof, this looks pretty rough. Okay, so yeah, a little bit. Okay, all right. So then he's also got to have a tail. So let's just have that go right to the end there. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of try and get some of the other details in here. Alright, so that you've got a little bit of something. Alright, blah, blah, blah. Then it's kind of hard because rodents don't really have very defined limbs because they're very fluffy, as is chinchilla. Okay. Alright, so we're going to call that good. I'm going to turn this one off. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'll just turn it off. So now I'm going to go one above this one again. I'm going to make another layer. Okay. Again, I'm just getting more and more particular, more and more specific. So now I'm going to use that as kind of an underlining thing. And now I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put a little bit of a bluish tint to it. Unfortunately, my chinchilla is black and white, so, you know, it's not going to be as helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to choose, I guess, some sort of brush here. Okay, and hang on one second. So now that you got it kind of laid out like this, the way you finish it kind of depends on the kind of style of painting you're trying to do. If you're trying to do something real polished and clean, you might not do it this way. I'm going to do it more of a painterly sort of style. So I'm just going to kind of, doesn't seem to be, I don't really like that. That brush isn't really doing it for me. Sometimes you got to kind of play around with these a little. No, it's not really doing it either. I don't like how thin the bristles are. I kind of like this brush, but I don't like the way it's reacting. So what I'm going to do is actually bring up the brush. If you just go Window and then go to Brush, it'll bring up all the settings here. And so what you can do is I can look at the brush things here, and I'm just going to up the number of bristles, take the length down, thickness, I'm going to pump up, stiffness, and see if that does what I want. It's a little better. Let's see what the color dynamics give me. So here we go, hue, jitter. So that should make it so the thing changes a little bit. All right, and saturation, blah blah blah. And there we go. Let's try that. So let's go back to the brush tips shape here, and let's do thickness down a touch. And we'll try that one. Okay, so and I got my fluid. Okay, good. So I'm gonna kind of work from there, and all right, so let's undo that. That hue shift jitter is doing too much. So basically, I didn't really explain that one. Basically what this does is it changes the hue of the brush on each stroke. We'll take the brightness jitter down too. So there's some variation. So every time I draw, see how there's a little bit of difference? It makes it look a little more painterly and a little more interesting. So I wanted a little bit of that, but I felt like that was a little too strong. So I'm just going to kind of try and paint my guy here real kind of lightly. Okay, so blah 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 blah. And I'm getting closer too. All right, now if you hit tab, it actually gets rid of the interface, which is kind of nice. So I'm just going to kind of do that too. All right, and we're going to make that a little bit bigger. So I'm just using the bracket keys to make my brush bigger and smaller. And I'm just trying to get this to be, just trying to paint in more or less the character here. Okay, so I'm going to tab to bring this back, and I'm going to take my color, bring that down a touch, go a little more blue, and we're going to try and shade this. I'll take my flow down even a little bit more. Let's see if I can get what I want. Okay. I'm just going to kind of a little bit there. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead, and I'm going to change this from essentials to painting. It gives me all my brushes and stuff here, which might be somewhat helpful. I'm going to try this brush, and then where is, let's see if there's, I believe there's something for color. There we go. This is the one I want. It's a little bit easier to work with for me. So I'm going to go a little bit of that. Okay, I'm going to go more gray and light. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of real lightly trying to just build up the color here on the chinchilla. Okay, little strokes. Okay. Oops. Oh, hang on a second. Why is the brush size not changing? There we go. Okay. Okay, then there should be... And a little bit of a paw here. There. Using my brackets. I'm not necessarily a great painter, as I'm sure you are now realizing. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to go a little more blue, a little bit deeper. And I'm going to try and bring some of this back. Okay. Alright, so there should be inside of the ear here. Alright, okay. Alright, I'm going to go even more black. Get that eye in here. Take my flow back up a touch. Alright, and I'm going to try and use one of these brushes for the eye here, because I'm not really getting as much as I want. I'm not sure why it's... Oh, because I'm on the wrong layer. Whoops. That's why I wasn't getting my blacks. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to work with this one then, since it's already here. Whoops. That was my bad. And we're going to put a slide there. Boom. Okay. I'm just going to go put that there. Oh, that explains quite a bit, actually. Go dark. And I'm going to go back to this one. And we're just going to... Oof, that's just too much. Command-Z. Command-Alt-Z, sorry. I'm going to try this one. So I'm just going to... Alright, so... This is kind of a roughish painting, if you will. Okay. Alright, and a little bit more in there. Okay, so... And then we'll go a little bit of a lighter yellow. Okay. Alright, go there. Just trying to get some highlights in here. Okay. And add some more variation in general. Alright, let's try this one. Not exactly my best effort, but and let's try to see if I get like something that's more of a fine tip. Right, here we go. That's what I was looking for. Something a little more like that, so I can kind of line some of these elements out. Get more of what I was looking for. Let's go a little blacker. Okay. I like more of a very textural look personally. So you can see like this is actually very loose. It's more my style, I guess, is working in this kind of loose manner. But you can kind of, you know, work obviously in any style you like. But there's a huge variety of artwork that's done in Photoshop. Alright, so certainly not the greatest thing ever made, but just give you a little bit of an idea on how to paint in Photoshop, which kind of hadn't screwed up that thing. But alright, so really just try to experiment with these brushes. It's actually, I probably should have used this paint thing first, and then, you know, mess around with your modes here. Use the this here as well to try and play around with things, and you should hopefully be able to get something that looks decent. All right, so good luck.